so forth. Zionism was created by mostly non-religious Jews. It was a nationalist movement of people who estranged themselves from God, from the Torah. They were non-religious. I always like to carry around the picture of the first, this was the Declaration of Independence, the first Prime Minister, David Ben-Gurion, and they're making a so-called Jewish state, 1948.
Yes.
And so it's Jewish. Supposedly they're returning to God. They're saying it's the end of exile, and not one of them is covering their heads. You know, so you see what the falseness of it. But still in all, the Zionists, they put on a facade and of Judaism. They incorporated religion in order that the world should say, oh, it's a religious thing, we have to support them. The evangelistic Christians and the millions and millions support them. Jews who don't know the Torah well, unfortunately, the more non-religious, and they say, oh, and they have this emotional playing, it's returning 2,000 years, we're in exile. That's the difference between Judaism and Zionism. Now, so in other words, in short, very concisely, Judaism is subservience to God, Zionism is nationalism, and it's expressly forbidden for us. So around the world, no matter what community, if you go to Argentina, you go to England, Stamford Hills in London, New York, where we're from, the very religious community, and in Jerusalem, the very religious community is in total opposition to the creation of the state. And now I have to add something very important. In other words, for us to have a state, as I said, would be even in an uninhabited land. But being that they created this state in a land that they needed for their purpose, Palestine, but Palestine was an inhabited land. The majority were Muslims. The second group of people that lived there in numbers were the Christians, and the third were the Jews. Because as individuals, we were allowed to, by God, were permitted to live there, but not as a nation. So in order for them to create their state, they had to expel, at least on the best, the Palestinian people. That is, it flies in the face of what our Torah is about, because in the Torah it says, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal. We have to be, mahu rachum, afatate rachum, just as God is compassionate, we have to be compassionate. I mean, and certainly not to steal or kill and expel people. How dare they? And on top of that, we have to remember that in this 2,000 years of exile that we've suffered so much because we are Jews. The Jews were burnt at the stake. They tried to forcefully convert Jews by the Crusades, by the Inquisition. And when they were expelled from Spain, from Italy, where did the Jews go? The Muslim lands took in the Jews. They embraced us in every Muslim land. Iran, wherever you like, Palestine, was under the Ottoman Empire. They took us in and we flourished in their lands. There was no human rights groups to protect us, yet we flourished.